All right, everybody, thanks for joining in. This episode, we're going back to the early 80s, and we are steering clear of horror once again. We're going to touch on, actually, another genre that, well, I technically, I think this falls into the gangster genre. Yeah, this is a genre that I am a huge fan of, but I don't think me and Mark have ever watched any gangster movies at all together. Ever?
I don't think we have. Nope, we have not. Because we always stick pretty closely to horror. So this one's kind of definitely a stretch for us. But we stretched a bit, like on our show. You know, we did Rambo, Last Blood. We've done some science fiction, like the Star Wars film. So every once in a while, we throw one in that kind of falls away from horror, but has some type of connection to it, maybe.
Yeah. And we're going back to 1983 with Scarface.
I will have to say that I'm sort of a late bloomer with it. Well, I don't remember it as like back in the day. I know like a lot of people have seen it when it came out, 1983 or whatever, and or kids our age grew up watching it, or it was on. I think I saw it in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I got into this huge, mobster movie kick. Oh, man, I was it's probably right around that same time, I guess, because I was probably in my mid-20s, maybe. Yeah, I watched, all the Godfather movies, Goodfellas, Casino, all that stuff. Maybe that's when it was, when Casino came out. Or something. But anyway, yeah, I got huge into the mob movies and stuff, and yeah, Scarface was one of those ones. Even though technically, I guess it's not a mob movie; it's more of a drug lord movie.
Yeah,
but
it still falls. I think it kind of it kind of has that same vibe as
yep,
like a Goodfellas or a Godfather.
Yep.
I mean, it's that same kind of underworld type of thing.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And this is one of those ones. Just like all of those too, which I don't know what it is about the mob movies, but guys, you can squeeze your story into 2 hours, can't you? Come on. Or just make 2 movies. But, I mean, I can't imagine back in the day, that people were this wasn't the only movie that was this way, but man, these movies come out and they're 3 hours long, and you're like, yeah, let's go see Scarface this weekend at the theater. Let's go see a double feature of Scarface and Goodfellas at the drive-in. Cool, yeah, let's be at the drive-in until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and it does, kind of have that sort of, one of the things I wanted to kind of get into with this one. Yeah, it is a gangster movie or a mobster kind of movie, but it also has to me, it kind of has an exploitation kind of feel to it as well. Would you agree?
Yeah, but again, though, that was kind of, you would get that feel, not with all of them, but like a Goodfellas and stuff. You kind of get that gritty, really violent feel to it. So, it's almost, again, it kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah. Well, you mean the gore and stuff?
Yeah. This one is a little bit, there's parts of this one that I think are a little bit over the top than they are with some of the other ones, I guess.
Mm-hmm. This film, yeah, I think this one is a really intense film. And I think Scarface to me I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to discuss this one today, because it really, really, there's some scenes in this film that really had a major impact on me in terms of just how brutal they were.
So when you say the scenes that are brutal, I guess let's go ahead and get right into them, because I think I know which ones you're talking about.
Okay.
But I'll let you go ahead and delve into it.
You want to know the one that really sticks with me the most?
Sure.
I wonder if you can guess.
Well, I'm going to assume it's the chainsaw scene at the beginning.
Oh, good job. Yes, absolutely. That scene, and the first time I actually saw it, I remember it so disturbed me, because it's it's one thing the shooting and some of the other things in some of these films, but the idea of tying somebody up over a shower curtain and sawing their arms and legs off in front of their partner just is so unnerving. It's so cruel, so intense that it's just so that scene just kind of, even though they don't really show anything, but what's going on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things with these mob movies, though, is, you kind of had not the same level of brutality, but, I always think of, like, in Goodfellas, you had the guy getting, like, stabbed in the trunk a bunch of times. I'm trying to remember, what was the scene in Casino where they, like, took him out to the cornfield or out in the desert and like made him dig his own grave and then beat the shit out of him with a bat or something.
Yes, I mean, that was a rough one too.
I mean, mobsters, man, those guys were just fucked up in the head. They just did some fucking brutal shit. You're like, damn.
Absolutely. I mean, very cruel, horrible things. Yeah, all of the movies, all of those films, they have something in them that really sticks with you.
Yeah,
and I think like the chainsaw scene to me, like with Scarface, that's always the one thing, like, that really kind of sticks with me. I always remember that scene. It's almost hard to watch, even though you don't really see anything, but at the same time, your mind kind of fills in the gaps for you.
Yeah, it's crazy when you watch movies like Scarface, and when you, especially like nowadays, because it's not like it was when we were younger and you would watch a movie like on TNT or something or USA or whatever, and the movie was all edited and stuff. I mean, nowadays when you're watching some of this stuff and you got your 15-year-old daughter sitting there with you, or your wife sitting there with you, and you're like, oh shit, sorry, I didn't realize it was gonna be like that.
Right.
I mean, it's just some of it, like you said, some of it's just hard to watch. Even if you're watching it alone, you're like, damn.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, Scarface it's a really good Al Pacino film, and it's probably, I think, one of his best films, to be honest with you. I mean, he basically he's a Cuban refugee, basically, comes across the border, ends up, getting hooked up with organized crime, and you watch him go from basically like having nothing to having an empire based on drugs and everything that these guys are doing, and then you see his downfall. And I think that the ending is just, it's like one of those classic ending scenes where it's really about like the downfall of a gangster, right?
It goes back to one of the earlier scenes in the movie when he's first getting together with the one guy, Michelle Pfeiffer's dude, whatever that guy's name was. It's slipping my mind right now, but he was giving Tony like tips of the trade, if you will, and I think it was like the third tip was, don't ever use your own product. And then at the end, Tony's sitting there just snorting mounds and mounds of his own cocaine. Mm-hmm. like, maybe you should have taken the guy's advice and you'd be fine. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Yeah, he becomes like pretty much a drug addict by the end of the film.
One of the things I wonder is, I mean, because, we're a horror-themed podcast, so you don't ever really hear of, I mean, sure, a very, very seldom do you hear of, like, somebody, going out and murdering a bunch of people, and then, it turns out that they were some weirdo, but you never really hear that somebody comes out and like, oh yeah, he went out and killed a bunch of babysitters because he wanted to be just like Michael Myers. But do you think people watch, like, some of these, like, mobster movies and see, like, the huge, like, lavish lifestyle that they have throughout part of the movie? Because most of the mobster movies end the same way. Like, they end up in jail or they end up dead. But do you ever think somebody watches, like, Scarface and is like, you know what? I'm going to be like Tony Montana when I grow up, and I'm going to be the king of the cocaine empire. I mean, I do. Do you really? I mean, it's just so... And I'm sure they do.
I think Scarface and Al Pacino's portrayal of him is one of those very, like, I mean, it's like very influential to a lot of people. I think people loved it. I think people wanted to be that. A lot of people did. You even think of it. It seems like one of those things that you think of, like the rap culture, and Scarface is really kind of, they talked about, and the gangster culture in general. I think a lot of people look up to him.
Yeah, it's just weird. I guess I shouldn't say that I don't believe it, because I know that there's people out there that idolize serial killers. So, I mean, people are just freaking nuts in the head anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't imagine you're watching a movie like Scarface and then, I mean, spoiler alerts, but, the guy gets blown away at the end and you're like, yep, that's the guy I want to be like when I grow up.
I know. I think it's like, I think people really kind of look up to him in the sense that he, had nothing, and he came up and he took on and created this empire for himself. Ends up in this mansion and not following the rules, not doing it the way everybody else does it, kind of doing it his own way. And I think there's sort of a certain level of people that, that say, like, yeah, that would, in a fantasy world, that would be kind of cool to be able to make that happen for yourself.
Well, what's weird about it, though, is a lot of these mobster movies, though, I mean, it seems like it's over the top, but I don't think it really is. And it turns out a lot of times in real life that, yeah, that's how people die. Or, they end up in, like, you look at, Al Capone, ends up in freaking jail and dies from, what did he end up getting? Syphilis, right?
Yep.
Or you have, like, Pablo Escobar, who's probably one of the more famous, like, drug lords, and ends up getting gunned down on his own freaking roof. I mean, like, yeah, so sure, he had a great run there for a while and, lived like a king, but he was shot to death on his own freaking roof, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird.
Yeah, no, it is. It is weird. Actually, but I do think some people see it as, like, there's a certain amount of credibility for somebody who ends up gaining the world, even if it's in, like, these criminal activities and ways, so to speak.
Just odd to me, but hey, I'm just an old man. I don't.
So, what did you think of the movie? Like, overall, did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I love Scarface. It's, like I said, it's one of this was probably only like maybe the third time I've seen it preparing for this. Again, that kind of goes back to the whole, one of the things is that it's so long.
Mm-hmm.
But really, of the mobster movies, I mean, I would place this up there with, like I said before, with, like, Godfather Part 2, Goodfellas. I would throw Scarface kind of in that category, like one of the better mobster movies.
I would too.
But the same with, like, those movies, they're all so long. It's not like you can't just sit down and, it's not like a, 7 o'clock on a Friday night and you're like, oh, you know what, I just need something to wind down with. I'm going to throw on Dracula here for a good 80 minutes and have a couple beers and eat some popcorn while that's going. It's Scarface. You're like, all right, so I'm going to throw this on 3 hours of my life that I'm going to have to be, like, invested to this movie because it's going to suck you in. And
oh, yeah.
I mean, this definitely is not a thing, a movie that I would call like a beer and popcorn movie at all. This is this is something you're going to sit down and, because if you're just going to throw this on for some background noise, then you're going to end up missing the whole damn thing. But
no, I totally agree.
It's something you got to invest into. This is something that you're going to sit down, and this isn't a negative thing at all. But I mean, it's almost like movies like this, they're almost something you have to be able to focus on and sit there and watch and pay attention to them. So if you're not in the mood to do that, then it can almost be like a chore to watch something like this.
Mm.
So.
No, I agree. Yeah, you have to be focused. You got to be, like, able to sit back and not be distracted. And this is that type of movie for sure. Absolutely.
Now that we're recording this, when we're recording this, so we are recording this June 21st, 2020. The nation right now is kind of in racial turmoil, if you will. There's a lot of stuff going on. One of the things that my wife brought up while I was watching this movie is, and I just kind of want to get your feeling on this because I don't think it's a bad thing at all, but do you think that the amount of Italian actors that were in this movie playing Hispanic actors, like if this were to come out now, do you think this movie would be labeled as almost like a brown face type of movie?
Yeah, it's interesting, huh? Maybe.
Yeah, I
don't know.
Because that's what I said too. I'm like, I'm not sure because it's. I mean, I know it used to happen a lot with, you had like different European people that would get cast in a lot of like Hispanic roles, or like, oh, we need a Native American. Oh, you got dark hair and sort of dark skin. Cool, come on. You're the Native American in this movie or whatever. But yeah, I was like, I don't know if they decided to make this movie now, if they could get away with having Al Pacino play Tony Montana or not.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like you go back to like the spaghetti westerns, like with Clint Eastwood, like The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and all those, and it was all Italians playing Mexicans.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know how it would go.
I mean, and it's not something that's ever been. I mean, maybe it has, and I just don't know about it. But I don't ever remember there being any controversy, like for this movie in particular. I know you have movies like the John Wayne movie was that he played Genghis Khan in, that kind of came back, 50 years later, and people were like, ooh, that's wrong. Or the other one from way back in the day was Breakfast at Tiffany's, when you had Jerry Lee Lewis, who played the Oriental character, the Asian guy. Even Oriental's not a correct term. But yeah, I've never really heard anything about it until she even mentioned it. I was like, you know what? I don't know if they may, if Oliver Stone and Brian De Palma were like, hey, cool, I got this cool mobster movie. And, I mean, Al Pacino, of course, now wouldn't be for the role at all because he's 185. But, some young actor who's, obviously not Cuban or Colombian.
Right.
Were they from Cuba or from Colombia? I don't remember now.
Cuba, yeah.
So Cuban.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I can't imagine that would go very well at all. Like, we got this movie coming out with this Cuban mobster.
Right.
Played by Ryan Reynolds. People would be like, no?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it would be a whole different ballgame nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the early 80s, so things were a bit different.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Crazy. So what do you think of the final scene in this movie? Again, spoiler alert, guys. I already said he gets blown away, but you have a coked out of his head Tony Montana who seemingly takes 8,000 gunshots to him, to the body before he gets finally blown away.
Love it. I think it's a great ending. It just shows. I mean, I think it's a awesome ending. Just here's this guy that's so driven and so focused on that, being this, becoming the leader of this empire, and then all these guys come in and are shooting him, and he just won't go down until finally, his body gives way. But yeah, I thought it was a great ending. Love it.
So now I'm going to ask you another question about the movie.
Sure.
What do you think about Michelle Pfeiffer in this movie?
Oh, yeah. 10, right? Wouldn't you say?
Oh, man. This is one of those that when you watch it and you're like, that's Michelle Pfeiffer? Damn.
Right.
I mean, we had Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns too, so it's not like we, at least for me personally, I was not I was not unaware of Mrs. Pfeiffer's
Yeah.
abilities. What was that one movie that she was in with the Bow brothers? Or the Bridge? Yeah. Bo Bridges and
I don't
Jeff
know.
Bridges.
Not sure.
Oh, there was some movie that she was in with those guys. The Bow brothers, the Bridge brothers. I can't remember the name of it, but there's like a scene in there where she's wearing like a red dress, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
Yeah, there we are. There's another sexist segment on horror. After we just talked about being politically correct with.
Yeah.
Now, did you have anything else you wanted to touch on with Scarface?
I think we covered it. I mean, it's a great gangster movie. It's a pretty intense film, almost exploitation in some ways. But yeah, I think it's great. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I give it a huge thumbs up.
Yeah, I would agree. I give it a huge thumbs up as well. I mean, it's something definitely you definitely gotta check it out if you haven't seen it. I mean, Al Pacino really does a great job in this movie. He does a great job in everything. I've seen a couple of Al Pacino movies recently, and I'm always like, damn, that guy can act. Even now.
Yeah, he does a really good job in this one. This is a big one.